What's up, folks? This is a vlog that is essentially what my YouTube channel has become, and so of course that means me touching base on life and how it occurs to me. You can also check me out on Anchor at Mandingo, just like the name of this channel, um, for some other content that I have in the web podcast, which are quite similar to what I have here on YouTube. So this one is about Undercover Boss, one of my favorite TV shows. I don't watch a lot of television, but that's actually one of the shows that I do get a lot of great value from. And it's largely because, I've worked, like many of us, a lot of different jobs. I mean, a wide variety of jobs. I have cleaned up evicted homes. I've done moving jobs. I've worked in retail, like most of us have to one degree or another. I've done landscaping. Golly, what else have I done? I've worked in warehouses. I worked at a rent-to-own place. Um, in a lot of different jobs in retail. I worked at a health and nutrition store. So in other words, a lot, right? And the other day, I turned in my resignation at my current job, which I actually love. It's actually the best job I've ever had, and I acknowledged my managers and told them that. When I told my first manager that I was going to be resigning last month to go complete my nutritionist certification out in California, I told him, this is the best job I've ever had. I'm 52 years of age. Uh, it's funny just to hear myself say that, 52 years of age. And it doesn't really like feel like 52. I got, a good amount of gray hair and everything. That's probably only been in the last 15 years when I look at some of these pictures. I've had gray hair since like 3 years out of high school, but it just ramped up big time because of stress and all these other things that were not good in my life. But saying all that to say, that just kind of landed a particular way when I said that. But 52, best job I've ever had. I'm the manager in the plumbing department. I've increased sales in my department um, from last year, and I ended up getting a bonus, which I didn't even know about. And then I just got another bonus, and so it's like, and I've heard from the lady that's in human resources that my department is one of the few departments that sales have actually increased over last year. And so I was like, okay, cool. That's great. And I like to see everybody win. Let me be very clear. You know what I'm saying? It ain't about me patting myself on the back, and let me say this, we all need to do that from time to time. But the bigger point and turning in my resignation after what I've been able to accomplish in the, I guess, 6 or 7 months that I've been the manager in the plumbing department has been great. And at the same time, when I told them that I was leaving, the next day when my managers came to give me the envelope for another bonus, which I was not expecting, I was like, wow. I literally, at a certain point in the conversation, I broke down in tears because I was just overwhelmed because I was just sharing with them about, just how much the job has meant to me and, how low I was at the time I started the job. It was so much happening in my life that was not working that I had pretty much almost like given up, and that's after taking a lot of L's in life. You know what I'm saying? L's. It sucks to be on the losing end of things time after time after time. And so to really have this experience has been great. And one of the biggest takeaways, going back to Undercover Boss, is how, it was always great to see the managers or owners of a business really get down into the trenches, so to speak. If it was a guy that owned a chain of fast food restaurants, to actually work with the guy and get trained with the guy who runs the fry machine. You know what I'm saying? And one of the things that's been interesting about my position there is I started in a mulch yard. I work at Ace Hardware, and great company too, because they're all independently owned co-ops, and it's not like it's a corporation, but it's not like Home Depot or Lowe's, in the sense that all Aces are independently owned stores, or you could even say maybe franchises. And so the people that own my store, it's a family that owns that store. So they have a vested interest in keeping good people on staff and making sure that, the morale is good, like any job, really. Um, but it's just a different energy than working at a big box store, which I've had that experience as well. It's like night and day because we thrive on customer service. We take care of people. Because I almost felt bad when I worked for one of the other big boxes, and how the store I was at, it was almost like you damn near had to defend yourself from some of your coworkers for going above and beyond when it came to customer service. And I literally at times, and I worked at Depot. I mean, I ain't got nothing to hide. I mean, what are they gonna come after me? Whatever, fuck it. You know what I'm saying? Um, but unfortunately, the store I was at, I literally felt that way. Like I was like, you know, being disrespectful to most of my coworkers by going above and beyond and provide that level of customer service. And then I just got to a point where I didn't care because my life was just in a really bad place. I was struggling to stay on that job. And then when they transferred me from the flooring department to plumbing, I took it on myself to say, you know what? The problem ain't these people. The problem is me. I got to address my shit. And it's time for me to step up my game. That's why they hired me in the first place, because I used to work at Expo Design Center, which was a high-end version of Home Depot. And then when they went out of business, when the housing market collapsed in late 2008, early 2009, they said when you start at Depot, if you choose to go to one of those stores, you're taking a pay cut and you're basically starting at entry level again. And so when I made the shift in who I was being, that's when everything turned around. My last year, and personally, I think I should have been a Home Depot All-Star the year before that. But my last year at Depot, I was elected a Home Depot All-Star for outstanding customer service, because I just made it a point to say, I'm not making the kind of money that I want to make. I don't have a car. And a lot of things were not good, right? And at the same, I had to move back in with my mom. But ultimately, the biggest thing I said that I could do was, while I was there, to just kick ass and take care of these customers and make sure these shelves are adequately stocked and hold down the department very well. Because I was fortunate to work in a department where I worked with some amazing, in that department, we had the best department in that store. The plumbing department at the store that I worked at Home Depot, maybe some of the other departments had their issues with taking care of people and all that. But our department, we put in work. And I love those guys. They contributed to me becoming a Home Depot All-Star, because when they transferred me from flooring over to plumbing, it was like me being taken to France and just saying, hey, figure it out. Because I didn't know two squats about plumbing and all these little parts and fixtures. I was like, how do you inventory all this stuff? Anyway, getting back to my point. When I got the acknowledgement the other day at Ace and I broke down and cried, what I was thinking about as I was getting the acknowledgement from them was that TV show Undercover Boss, and how they would hear some of their employees' stories and the stuff that these folks were dealing with. And it would just at times bring tears to my eyes, because I'm like, you never know what people are dealing with. You never know what people are growing through, or a lot of people go through stuff, but I say grow through it, right? And that's why that show always touched my heart. And I literally had a real world experience of that last week when I was at Ace, and the second day after telling them that I was resigning to go get my nutritionist certification and, and that kind of thing. And so it just goes to show the value of working in a business. And I'm a business owner now. I just got incorporated last year. And one of the biggest takeaways that I got, and that I think about quite often, from Robert Kiyosaki's work and the different books of his that I've read, is one of the things he said. He said, when you work a job, you're there to learn, not to earn. To learn, not to earn, because most of these jobs are not really paying you a livable wage. I mean, let's be perfectly honest about it. Um, Especially in the inflationary or deflationary times that we're in right now because of this whole shutting down of the economy and everything, and just causing businesses to go belly up, right? A lot of them anyway. Um, One of the things that I'm always present to is that statement from Kiyosaki when he says, "You're there to learn, not to earn." And I continually push myself, largely because at times in retail, you go through periods where you have your busy season and your slow season. And when it's slow, it can be mind numbingly slow to where at times I have literally just wanted to walk out the door. And I mean that with no disrespect to Ace or Home Depot, but that literally was how I felt at times. I was like, I cannot take this shit anymore. It's, it was like you literally have to find shit to do. And you got to be careful with that because sometimes you end up taking on a project that you're like, whoa, what did I? And at the same time, because I've gotten back into the habit of being the worker that I've always known myself to be in terms of having excellent work ethic to the point where I'm like, okay, yeah, I'll take that project. Okay, I'll clean this up. I'll clean up the bathrooms, and it doesn't faze me. And that's one of the things that I think a leader does when you own a business is that it's like going into battle. You don't stand at the back and tell the troops to say, okay, charge. No, you right there on the front line with them and saying, I'm going into battle with you. You know what I mean? And so that's one of the values that I got from working at Ace. And that's how I used to be at Home Depot as well. I kind of bypassed that because of the fact that they knew I had worked at Expo and they wanted me to come right in and start working on the floor in the flooring department. But typically, the way it used to be at Depot is that they had you start in the garden department before you worked your way into the store. And that's basically how it ended up being at Ace. I worked out in a mulch yard when I first started there, right around the time this whole COVID thing happened. And then eventually worked my way into the store. And they already knew my background and knew I wanted to be in the store and working in the plumbing department. And we were going through this major expansion. So it was like um, kind of like a once in a lifetime deal because you don't really go through expansions often in a business. And this was the first time they probably had expanded in forever, for all I know. And so it was just upheaval. Um, but I got a chance to, be out there in the mulch yard, help clean up, and I don't have a problem with that. Loading the mulch bags, and actually, I get accused of being kind of skinny. I was actually starting to get pretty ripped, when I was out there in the mulch yard, and then right around the time I was getting in shape, and I could literally start to see the tone and definition come in. That's when they had me come inside the store and start working in the plumbing department. So, but the point is, I've had a chance to do a lot of different things, and it's all good. It doesn't faze me either way. It's all skills. It's all things that I'm learning about, especially with Ace. I get a chance to take that on, and you could say that actually was there at Home Depot too. I just didn't get to that level. And one of the things I get from this book, and I'm gonna complete here pretty in the next few minutes, from The Science of Getting Rich, is how he talks about how you can only act where you are. And that was one of the things that I discovered when I was at Home Depot and things were going in a really bad way. I was like, Dean, it's up to you. You got to change who you're being in this moment and this experience. It ain't got nothing to do with anybody else but you. Nobody cares about the fact that you got evicted. Nobody cares about the fact that you don't have a car or your finances aren't great. Nobody cares. Figure it out, make the change, be the example. And when I made the choice to be the example, that's when everything shifted. And that's when I got elected a Home Depot All-Star. And that's one of the proudest moments in my life. I still got my apron. I got all the little badges that I got from when I was getting the outstanding customer service, which I got acknowledged too when I was at Expo Design Center by, I think it was the CEO's wife. I didn't even know that's who she was, but she came into the store and I just did what I always did, after I got out of my own way. Because even over there, I was being an asshole when I first started because I was just so unhappy about my life. I just felt entitled and I was just pissed and mad at the world for what I felt like I was owed just on the strength that life hadn't been I don't know, giving me what I felt like I deserved. And again, once I made the shift and said, it ain't about them, dude, it's about you. It's about you, Dean Kenneth Jackson. Clean up your shit, be the example, and watch things change. And that's literally what happened. Because over there, I got commendations from I think it was the vice president of Expo Design Center's wife. I think his name was Bruce Marino, and his wife came in. I ain't know who the lady was. I was just helping her out like I would anybody. I got very high scores from like secret shoppers and stuff like that. So it just turned around. And so I don't necessarily think trading time for money is the way to go. Especially, like I said, I got incorporated last year, looking to get my business off the ground in terms of my health and wellness business, starting to get clients now and moving powerfully forward with getting my certification, learning about growing, foods, and eventually going to create some of my own herbal formulas and things like that. However, I wouldn't trade anything for the experiences that I had at Expo, at Home Depot, and Ace Hardware, because they truly are essential workers and essential jobs. And shout out to all of the folks that really put in work at Lowe's, uh, Home Depot, Ace Hardware, what's the Menards, I think is in Illinois, True Value, which I think is a division of Ace Hardware, but all the folks that work at even the mom and pop hardware stores. There used to be a hardware store over here, not too far from where I live on Redan Road here in Stone Mountain, Georgia. And they went out of business probably about 20 years ago, but it was an old school mom and pop operation. I mean, and them cats was hardcore. They knew their stuff. When you went in there to ask them a question about plumbing or electrical, they knew their stuff, but they were getting older. They didn't have any children to take over the business. And so they just shut it down, and now they got, tires. They sell old used tires out of that building. And it's funny, just doing this video, I just got present to the fact of that. I think it was DeKalb Hardware is the name of it. And that was like a total recall moment, a flashback to the few times I did have a chance to go in there before they closed. And, they were kind of like rednecks or whatever, but they were good people. They just knew what they knew from where they were born and raised and what they were taught. But they knew their stuff and they were good people. And if they saw you were good people, even if you black, they didn't trip off of that. They were just people are people. They just have what they have and they bring to the table what is their life experience from the things that they were, indoctrinated in or brought up in, school system, whatever. So all that being said, people that work at hardware stores, major shout out to you. People and that do the work, that really take care of the customers. And that's for anybody that works in retail, because it's not the easiest business to be in. And a lot of times you don't really have enough time for yourself. That's the one thing I will say. I don't like the fact I only get a half-hour lunch break over here. That's weird. That's the first job I've ever worked where I only had a half-hour lunch break. But the point is, there's so much value in really just taking on what you are doing newly each day with vim and vigor and vitality and just excitement, and the pay can be a little deflating when you look at your check sometimes at the end of 2 weeks. And at the same time, what I also have to acknowledge, I do, it's okay. It ain't terrible money. But when looking at the money I spent on my food last week, that's what a breakdown is right there. I spent like $200 and almost $60 on food. And most of it, I don't even know where it went. I know where it went. It was like for a quick meal here, a quick meal there. So if I had actually been managing my money more effectively, that wouldn't be an issue. So it's not even about that. And like he says in the Science of Getting Rich, you can only act where you are. So wherever you are in life, even if you are starting at the entry level bottom position, hold your head up. You know what I'm saying? Make sure your badge is straight and really hold your head up high. Learn everything there is to learn about the position. Take the initiative. Go the extra mile. Read the manuals. Do the online trainings. You know what I'm saying? All of those kinds of things are just going to make you a more well-rounded person in life. And those skill sets that you acquire, especially working at a hardware store, you can take out into life. And when you get your own home or condo or whatever, if you do need to do some repairs, and sometimes doing, excuse me, home repairs is not the sexiest thing in the world, but the bottom line is, if you choose to take that on, you can save yourself a lot of money because you learned that while you were at the store and you dug in. You asked people who knew more than you. You know, get rid of the looking good conversation and just ask if you don't know. Some of your other coworkers, what does this do? How does this work? And that's an absolutely profound experience to have. So jobs are not the end of the world. They don't all suck. There are some great jobs out there still. And again, it's what we choose to make it. And as long as, we're working on the other things that we're committed to with that same level of vim, vigor, and vitality, if we're like, entrepreneurs or business owners and we need time for ourselves after work to just kind of decompress and then get into our entrepreneurial pursuits, making phone calls, dealing with some spreadsheets, doing some, budgeting analysis or whatever, take that same level of commitment and focus and energy and passion into our brand as we're helping others to build and continue to make the money with what they do that employs us and pays us a salary until we can become full-time in our own business. So again, it still comes back to what Kiyosaki said, and that you're there to learn, not to earn. And again, going back to Undercover Boss, it was a great show. I don't know if it's still on the air or not, but I watched so many of those episodes. And when you hear people's stories, it's like, there for the grace of God go I. Who am I to judge this person because of how they look or the car they drive or the car they don't drive? You don't know what people are dealing with. You don't know what their life experiences have been that have led them to that point. So just be compassionate, show love to people, and continue to improve your skill sets, continue to read, continue to learn, because even if you don't, become an entrepreneur or a business owner, the things you learn about business from reading Rich Dad, Poor Dad, or reading Think and Grow Rich, or listening to The Science of Getting Rich on a consistent basis is only going to make you that much more effective in your current job, to the point where promotions are offered to you. You're getting bonuses because you've improved sales in your department, so on and so forth. And I always remember how Robert Kiyosaki talked about how his rich dad told him to get a job in sales and to find a way to become the best in sales. And I think he said he was number 2 at IBM or Xerox, wherever it was that he worked. And he was getting a lot of perks and, benefits from taking on what his rich dad said and then applying it and then, producing that amount of sales for his company, to the point where that ended up being a valuable skill set. Because I think, as he says, and other people that are successful say, not just business owners or entrepreneurs, we're always selling. And if we know how to sell ourselves and market our services for the quality that we provide, for the difference that we make, that ends up showing up in more zeros on our check. You know what I'm saying? And that's really what it's all about. So thanks so much. I apologize for the length of this, but this is just something that was on my heart to share. And shout out to the people that created the TV show Undercover Boss. And like I said, to all of the folks that work at hardware stores, all around the world, God bless you. You know what I'm saying? You guys are absolute warriors. And Ace Hardware is everything that's right about America. That's how this country was built, from small brick and mortar businesses where you got human resources in the same building, as opposed to it being in some big corporate building way on the other side of town to service all these stores all throughout the country. You know what I'm saying? It just makes a big difference. It really does. So yeah, like I said, it's been a great experience. I think they got a great business model. I think I said it before, it's a co-op. They're all independently owned. So the inventory is different from one ace to another. They don't have these cookie cutter type box configurations like your Lowe's or Home Depots do. But it's a good business model, and it's been a really honor. It's been a, really it's been really it really has been an honor and a pleasure to work there after going through some really challenging times. And shout out to my former manager Jerry for giving me the opportunity there. He's a good guy. I gotta actually give him a call soon because he gave me a chance when I really needed it, and I'm truly grateful for that. So for those of you out there just doing the work, keep your head up, keep doing the work, even with the economy being what it is or whatever, and just know it all starts with who you choose to be every day that you show up in that place. And listen to the Science of Getting Rich like on a regular basis, and you'll know what I'm talking about. That book is a game changer for real. Take care of yourselves, folks. Peace and be well.